The Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew, the 2nd chapter.
Glory to you, O Lord.
In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem asking, "Where is the child who has been born, King of the Jews? For we observed his star at its rising, and have come to pay him homage." When King Herod heard this, he was frightened, and all of Jerusalem with him. And calling together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for so it has been written by the prophet, and you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod secretly called for the wise men and learned from them the exact time when the star had appeared. Then he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word, so that I may also go and pay him homage." When they heard the king, they set out, and there ahead of them went the star that they had seen at its rising, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. And entering the house, they saw the child with Mary his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. Then, opening their treasure chest, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left for their own country by another road. The Gospel of the Lord. So I don't usually have corporate sponsors for my sermon, but I feel like I should give a fair warning today. Today's sermon is brought to you by the makers of Playmobil and the Disney franchise. And they aren't kicking any big bucks into my sermon preaching, but both companies' fictional characters helped shape much of my sermon, which is probably because I have some small children at home. Some of you may have seen the Wandering Wise Men posts that have been shared on Prince of Peace's Facebook page during the season of Advent and Epiphany. Basically, the picture center posts use the wise men and the camel from Playmobil's nativity set to invite the follower of the page into the daily encounters and adventures of Gaspar, Melchior, Balthazar, and their faithful camel, Hezekiah, as these characters search for the infant King Jesus. According to the creator, constructor of the Wandering Wise Men page, the concept was born out of a desire to participate in the whimsical fun of Elf on the Shelf, with more of a focus on Jesus than on Santa. So one picture will depict the wise men contemplating whether or not it's worth it to carry the bulky tube of sunscreen. Another day we'll find the wise men lamenting about the blisters on their feet, as only the camel is accustomed to such long road trips. And yet another post finds them eating Cheetos and Ho-Hos just 2 days into the new year, breaking their resolution to be healthier. Anyway, it's fun, and it's a bit stupid, and sort of ironic, because curiously, the Wandering Wise Men posts that we've shared have received more likes and interactions than just about anything else we post. So maybe we need more whimsical fun throughout the year. Anyway, I personally am impressed by the creator-constructor. They have apparently been doing this for a few years, and each year the journey to find Jesus is different, which I feel like totally mirrors my life trying to find Jesus. And I don't know if I could come up with 37-ish days of creative posts and captions year after year. But regardless of the whimsy and the fun, my question to you this morning is, why does Epiphany even matter? I mean, mostly it ends up being the day that we can finally put the wise men in the nativity set, if it's still up. It's the day that we can finally take down the dry, needle-bare Christmas tree, if that's still up. Or it's the day that we can toss the pies and the cookies and the chocolate, if there's any left. Epiphany marks in practice the end of all the hubbub and the return to normal schedules, normal decor, and normal life. Often I think of it as the time we sort of climb out of the black hole that we've been living in between Christmas and New Year's, where we don't know what day it is, where our shoes are, and we have subsisted on wine and chocolate for far too long. But there must be more to Epiphany than that. Part of what gets lost in the retelling of the wise men's journey is that their couple-year endeavor to find Jesus gets boiled down to a week or so, which means that the hardship, the wrong turns, and the tedious aspects of their faith journey are lost. I think that's why I personally have enjoyed the Wandering Wise Men post so much. I mean, sure, it's ridiculous that the Playmobil figures were having tea parties or playing soccer or arguing with one another or taking silly side trips. But those normal, everyday things reflect more realistically how it is to follow Jesus. And than the watered-down recap that we talk about in church where we say, they saw a star and it's rising, they followed it to where the baby lay, and then a dream guided them down an alternate path. I mean, I feel like the wonder and the allure of the star probably faded pretty fast, at least by the time that the first illness hit or they became homesick. They left everything familiar, including their homes, their friends, and their occupations, to seek security in a foreign land. They depended on their own resourcefulness and the kindness of strangers. They faced their own mortality in a very real way. I think that it was probably a very dark journey, both to find Jesus and after they left Jesus' bedside. Because frankly, following Jesus isn't easy, even if there's a bright star to guide you. And lacking a bright star or any clear sign, I often feel directionless and lost. I mean, what am I even journeying for? Does it even matter? Where am I going? My stamina and vision fails quickly. I, like our Playmobil friends, could easily slouch into that comfy chair and eat Ho-Hos and Cheetos for days in blissful ignorance to anything new that God is revealing, let alone any way I'm supposed to participate in that new thing. I think that if the wise men could have seen the whole journey or known how very hard things might get, they might never have undertaken such an endeavor. And I think mostly what God called them to do, and I believe that what God calls us to do, is to just take the next faithful step. And when I break it down to that, I feel like I can do that. Sometimes my next faithful step might be a tiny one, or barely a crawl. And sometimes I'm gangbusters out the door. But no matter the day, no matter the circumstances, no matter what lies ahead, really all God is asking of us is to take the next faithful step, which is where Disney comes in. I took my daughter to see Frozen 2 not long ago, and the whole movie is basically a faith journey. There is one part that struck me so profoundly that it took my breath away, which says a lot for a Disney animated movie. If you don't know, it's about two princesses. Anna is the one, she's the redhead, she has no magical powers, and Elsa is the blonde, and she has the magical powers. Anyway, Anna, she sings this heart-wrenching song when she believes that all is lost. Her journey has failed, she does not know where to turn next or what to do, and Elsa, her sister, is gone forever. But it's Disney, so she's not gone forever. But Anna believes that her life is over. However, slowly, the strength of her soul and the tenacity of her faith compel her to rise and take the next faithful step, unsure of where it will lead her. And she sings these words. A tiny voice whispers in my mind, "You are lost. Hope is gone. But you must go on and do the next right thing." Can there be a day beyond this night? I don't know anymore what is true. I can't find my direction. I'm all alone. The only star that guided me was you. She may have lost her star, but something deep within her knows that hope is never gone, and we are never too lost to be found. And I think the Epiphany journey is a little like that. Star or no star, clear vision or no vision, dream or no dream, choice or no choice. What God asks of us in this broken, blessed world is to do the next right thing. the next faithful thing, to take the next step. Whether we are walking through the night, blindly stumbling towards the light, or basking in the daylight, confident of our way. Epiphany pushes us beyond our boundaries and into the unknown, which is also a little Frozen 2 reference. Epiphany is really about relying on more than the map. Heeding the signposts of intuition and dream, taking a risk and following a star, even if you're the only one that sees that star. And attending the wonders upon your path. Maybe it's a game of soccer or a meal with friends or an open hand that could use some help. And pressing on when you're tired and taking rest when necessary. We may put away the wise men, the Facebook posts may end and the twinkling lights will dim and happy endings may not always prevail. But Epiphany does not mark the end of the season. It's just the beginning. We set out from here with the presence of the Christ child illuminating our hearts into days that hold unknown treasures and daunting dangers. Because once we have seen the child, once we have discovered his great love for us, once we have heard his voice, we are drawn forward by his light, making paths where none could be seen, and doing the next right thing.